Hey, Dental Nachos community, is Paul, Dr. Nacho. This is another episode of Talking Nachos. We are going to interview awesome key resources and sponsors who are here to help you cry less on the inside each day as a dentist. That happens to all of us, happened to me yesterday in my office, and make us happier by decreasing annoyance. These are things you don't learn in dental school, things to help you survive, thrive, improve your dentistry core, which is your mind skills, your communication skills, your clinical skills, at the center of it all, your heart, how you are as a leader. So we have an awesome show planned for you today. We have a great offers from our key resource and sponsor. I'm ready for our first key resource and sponsor when you are, Ariel. And this is one of the topics that is near and dear to me as a dentist. So I'm here talking to another dentist, our loop aficionado. We're going to change our perfect text code. So Tan, share with us, what do you do at Light Solutions Dental to help dentists decrease annoyance, and what product do you guys have?
So we help dentists move away from pretty much a dental markup. Like lights, when I was in school, lights and loops are expensive. They're thousands of dollars each time you buy them. So what we do is we bring affordable lights and loops that's high quality. That's pretty much the same as like the other brand names. And we make it a third of the price, a fourth of the price of what everyone else is charging them.
You know our dentist people, Tan, you are one. We are quite hashtag dentist cheap. We love a deal. Not our crown preps. Those are $1,800 works of art. But everything else, we love a good deal. So Tan, you're an awesome key resource sponsor, but I've been using your loops and lights for over the past 6 months. They are awesome. Start with the light. Tell us how it works. You can show it to us and how much people can get it for. I recommend everyone just gets one of these lights as a backup because you can clip it anywhere, but show our audience what it's like.
Yeah, so our lights comes in like one of these things right here. This is one of our little lights packages. You turn it on. It comes in 4 different settings. And the cool thing about this light is that now you can clip it onto your eyewear like this.
Nice.
So that way you don't have to be bothered with loops and like with wires and like getting caught and stuff like that. And the cool thing about this is this entire package, this light lasts for 2 hours on high, 6 to 8 hours on low. This entire package is $250 or $350 with the replaceable batteries. So you can
awesome deal. So you just I know my dentist people, they also like details, son. So you can just buy the light as a standalone and put it on anything. Your current loops,
yes.
Safety glasses, buy them for your hygienist for only $250. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes. So I actually have them for my entire team. My assistants have them. Like when I'm working, we don't even need the overhead light anymore because the overhead light, we have the older ones that will cure our composites. This one has a composite filter. They can shine it right into the spot I need and it won't cure the composite.
It's very good because I'm very good at getting the overhead light to never get to the spot that I actually want to see. Illuminates the floor great. Now, Tana, every day my wife wakes up and the first thing she says is, I'm very lucky to know you, Paul. Just joking. She doesn't say that. But because they know me at Dental Nachos, how can they save with a Nacho deal on the lights and loops? How much can they save?
Yeah, so right now, if they save about 5%.
5%, awesome.
Yes, 5% with both the lights and the loops. If there's any students out there, you're saving about $50 off of the lights and the loops
awesome.
or more. So we actually have a new line of flip-up ones.
So we did the light. Now let's do the loops. I own the loops. You always need backup loops. If you work without that backup loops, I think you're not so nuts. You're going to lose a whole day of production. So tell us about your loops. What do they cost and what are the two options?
So this is our cost for this flip-up right here. This is our new flip-up lines that we have. It's the small lens barrel that we have. Super lightweight. This costs about $395. And then we have a through the lens version that is $695. So if you compare it to pretty much the cost of all the other brand names out there, they're a fraction of the price. See this little gray piece right here? I spent like a week making this, 3D printing this myself to get the attachment. So that way it's raised up away from the flip up and you can flip it up and you can use it up and down.
That's awesome. I mean, there's so many uses for this to increase your dentisting happiness, having them in multiple operatories, getting them for your hygienist, students getting an extra set. One of my regrets is not buying more pairs of discounted student loops. Loops do not expire. You're always going to need extras. You always want it, just like X-ray sensors. One day, someone's going to drop it and it's going to break and you're going to be without them. So, Ton, if people want to reach out to you directly, they can text loops to 215-543-6454. But what website can they go to and use the code Nachos5 to save?
They can go to lightsolutions.com So they can, and all of our product is on there. It's an easy to use browser. Go over all like the information that they need for it, the details of the specs of the light, the specs of the loops for the users.
And anything else you want to share with our audience before you jump off?
I think this is a great product, so that way they can save money. Like we're in a kind of a weird time right now where everyone wants to save money, and this is one of the opportunities to do so. And as a student, I wasn't rich, so why spend more than you need to?
Right. That's Dennis' motto for everything. Why spend more than you need to on anything? And we had a chance to meet each other in Miami. I hope you guys come to Philadelphia this summer for our awesome Super Dentist Boost live event. Thanks for being an awesome friend, key resource, and sponsor, Ton. And also your even more amazing wife, Tina. She's great.
Yes, she's definitely so.
Thanks, Don. Really appreciate it. So just in our first segment here, an awesome way to help you every day in your practice, whether it's your hygienist, whether it's you, to be able to see better, to have lights, to have backup stuff, to not drive yourself nacho nuts. So that was our first guest here on Talking Nachos. Now we're going to move to our second guest. I'm ready for our second guest whenever you are, Ariel. So I love the name of this company, MVP. So Aaron, share with our audience. You're new to our Dental Nachos group. Proud to have you as a key resource and sponsor. Share what you guys do to help dentists go from feeling like this. It's easy to feel like this as a dentist.
You're right.
Feeling like this. Thanks for being here.
Dr. Nacho, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be a sponsor. So MVP stands for Most Valuable Practice. Okay. See, I'm kind of a sports guy in the background. I played college and I played pro football for 9 years. I never got rich and famous, so I had to get a real job. So I got into the dental space. Why not? Cool. So about 10 years ago, I started in the dental space, and about 4 years ago, I started my own company called MVP. We specialize in bringing new patients to dental offices all across the country, and we do it through an old form of marketing, direct mail specifically. We've kind of our main niche is I love the analytics. If you watch, I know you're a sports guy. Yeah. Any sports, everything is analytics.
I brought my basketball here. I had a dream of playing professional basketball when I grew this size. You know what people told me? Get different dreams. This dream is not coming true. But Aaron, tell me for a second, because we're always trying to layer in value. I've actually been earlier in my career negative about direct mail. Then we've been using it for years. I find it to be incredibly helpful. Just talk for a minute to our audience. Why is direct mail not dead for the dental office? You know, we talk about Instagram, Facebook, which are all great. Snapagram, that's not even a thing. But why is direct mail a good modality to connect with patients?
Well, you know, in my experience, and I've now mailed and tracked over 100 million pieces for dentists all across the country, literally every state. And in my opinion, the beauty of direct mail, it is one of the very few proactive marketing pieces that you are going to put directly in front of people. And some people say, oh, well, it's junk mail, they throw it away. But you imprint it, they touched it, they physically touched it. In today's digital world, right, there's not a lot of things that you're able to physically touch. And I think that is a big component of it. And whether they respond instantly on that initial contact or not, it's an impression. People get all excited about these online. Oh, I got 22 impressions. Well, you could get 10,000 impressions with a direct mail piece. And if you can,
and I want to share to add to that, when I convinced our practice, when my dad worked with my dad for many years, unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but amazing dad, amazing mentor. I convinced him in 2010 for us to do a direct mail piece. And he was impressed by how many of our existing patients actually mentioned it and said, I got your mailer. It was cool, right? Because, you know, it's just great awareness. So if you're a dental practice owner out there, Aaron, you're thinking, I want to connect with more patients. I find direct mail to be great for the audience. I wish I had a practice where everybody was just 60 or older. I don't know if that's legal, but I would run one. People my age and younger, very annoying to deal with. 60-year-old plus, they come, they want to steal the Keurig, let them have it. But tell us a little bit about the process of working with you guys and how you could get set up to start sending direct mailers with MVP.
Okay, great. So I think one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make in marketing in general, but specifically direct mail, is the audience that they target. And gone are the days, if you are doing direct mail and you're still drawing a big circle around your office and saying, okay, 5 miles, 10 miles, right? That's gone. Analytics has changed this. We've built some software called Map IQ. It's our proprietary software where we'll go in and we actually pin drop out your patients visibly, and we match them to your hottest responding neighborhoods. Because where I find my best results is I want to target the neighbors of your current patients. Gotcha. And now, like you said, I can actually take out your patients if you don't want them to get it and only mail to their neighbors. Or in cases like if you're running a special that you don't want your existing patients to see, no problem. I can mail to all their neighbors, but not your patients. So we've just advanced it. We start with that. I want to pin drop your patients. I want to put a heat map together and put together basically an x-ray. Let me look where people are coming from, identify geographical barriers, mental barriers of entry, rivers, interstates. All those things matter. People don't come to you in a perfect circle. Okay. So then the next step is the design. We've tracked literally every single card that we've mailed. How many calls, how many appointments, where it's coming from, down to production. And we help you with the design. Our team does all of the artwork for you. Talk about stress. You say that picture, we make this really easy.
And that's important because, you know, everything we do is trying to help people, and bringing in people to do the type of things you want to do, whether it's implants, Invisalign, sleep apnea is so key. I've seen people talk very highly about you on other Facebook groups. So I don't know if you've met Dennis. I bet you have. We're a skeptical bunch, not really very positive. So tell me a story as we wrap up about a dentist who's like, I don't know if this is going to work, Aaron, but it really worked, and I'm glad I did it. I've seen you in other groups. Doesn't have to give me a name, but just the impact that you've made on their practice.
Yeah, no problem. Well, on the back end, when we match all of this up, that's the missing component. A lot of this is people. It's kind of like a gut feel. I think it worked. I don't want the gut feel. I want you to know dollar for dollar exactly what you got in return. I actually had a different example, but the way you asked that question, I showed this card a couple times. I'll talk about him down in Southern California. I met him at a small little conference. Direct mail, is that still a thing? I love that. It's so archaic. It's
very reactionary, the dentist. You see on their face, always so negative. They can't just be like, oh, tell me this is never going to work. They're really
you live under a rock.
They're practicing to be angry grandmothers. That's what dentists are doing. So yeah, tell me, the dentist comes up to you in California.
So he's like, do you live under a rock? I'm like, no, just give us a shot. Let me show you what we can do. We did a heat map for him. We did all this work. Okay, so we start with I don't lock anyone into long-term contracts. I want to show them a short-term window. Let me show you what I can do, and let me target these different areas. We rolled it out for him. And one of his first callers on his second mailing, so his first mailing, it did okay. He started to get some growth. He started to get excited. He got I think it ended up being a $49,000 case.
Cool.
A $2,000 mailer.
That's great.
And that was just one of the, I think he ended up with like 23 new patients on that particular mailing and et cetera. Anyway, the guy's renewed now multiple times. He mails every single month of the year. We target things and we change the message so it's unique. We know how to do all that. But now he has 2 locations. And like I said, he mails every single month, and testimonial. Anyway, great.
That's awesome. I mean, that's what you do. It's like turn that frown for dentists upside down. If people are watching this saying, hey, they can text MVP to 215-543-6454. But if they want to check out your website, where's the best place for them to go?
MVPmailhouse.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Aaron. Really appreciate you being here. Looking forward to working together.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
All right, guys. So you see Loops marketing, clinical stuff, your clinical skills for your core, your mindset and leadership skills. We have 2 special guests coming up next. I'm thrilled to be talking to them, people who I know super well, so you can bring them up, Ariel, whenever they're ready to join us here on Talking Nachos. So we have here Dr. Addison Killeen, and we can bring Mark up too. Perfect. So I have my Addison, my good friend Mark. Hold on, Mark. I brought someone here. Might want to know you. Hold on. Excuse me. Do you know Mark Costas? Because have you hung out with him? Or I don't know. Mark, this is probably too light for you to use here. But I wanted you to feel at home with one of your friends here.
Well, thank you. I do feel at home. I appreciate that. But Louis Chen, man, when he puts up something on Instagram and he's repping 100-pound dumbbells, he makes me feel like a
bicep curl-a-thon with these guys. So really thrilled to talk to you guys. I have your book here. What these 2 talk about, Dr. Mark and Dr. Addison, is starting up the Dental Startup Manual. This is an amazing book. I told Addison I'm reading to my 6-year-old Mark. She's really into it. Assistant Daily Checklist. It's a great bedtime story here. So
yeah, I'm sure that puts her right to bed. That definitely solves the problem of not being able to get kids to bed on time, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys have inspired me. I mean, I love Systems, Checklist, Manifesto, another great book that you guys have. So tell us both a little about these books and your mission here to help dentists with both operations and startups.
Well, I'll start, Addison, and I'm going to let you take it over, just like kind of you have with all of these books in the series. We have the operations manual book, and then we have the startup manual book, and then we just finished the manuscript for acquiring a dental practice book. Awesome. These are all manual type things. You don't read them necessarily cover to cover. They're intended to be reference material that you can kind of look up when you need guidance in any particular area of a startup, of systemizing a dental practice and acquiring a dental practice. Addison is one of the most organized people that I've ever met, and he's a wizard with Excel spreadsheets and all things tech. So he's been able to knock out these manuals very, very quickly. But we've combined our experience together. He and I have owned 25, 26 dental practices, and all the mistakes that we've made are in there and how to avoid them. And
Mark, you guys collect dental practices like my brother Jeff collects sneakers. So, that's impressive. So tell now, just for a minute before we go over to Addison. Hey, Mark, I heard happy birthday. What age did you hit recently?
Oh, it ended in a 0, but I won't give you
You're
the
like
first.
Benjamin Button. You're aging in reverse. You're the Benjamin Button of DDSs. So Mark and I are in the same generation of 43 and 50. And I mean, one of the things I want to share is if somebody's watching who's in dental school, why do we need these books? Like, don't we learn this in dental school, how to run a dental practice? Tell us a little bit about DSN, just as a broad picture look, and why this is so necessary before we give it over to Addison.
Yeah, sure. DSN to me is a labor of love. We founded it because we noticed that so many of the free forums were dishing out some really inaccurate and negative type of information, right? Yours is one of the exceptions. It's a very positive community, huge community. That anybody could be envious of, but there's a lot of free communities out there. There's a lot of so-called, experts out there that are just dishing out information, and they're not vetted as people that you should listen to. Not that you should listen to everything that we say, but at least we have some experience behind what we're saying.
The important point I share too, and we've talked with your podcast is amazing. We'll drop that, Rob Montgomery, is that if I want to run a marathon and I just look up online how to run it, that's cool if I just want to finish it. But if it is the business marathon that's going to determine my future, it's really important to get advice from the right people. So I always say that buying your first dental practice or starting up is really the most important decision you're going to make. And then when you start to run this, you really need to have great resources that hold you accountable. I mean, I've learned so much from you guys. So I appreciate that so much, Mark. Stay on with us, but I'll let Addison kind of chime in here too, Addison, to share about these manuals.
Well, sure. So I mean, the first manual that we put out, the blue one, the dental operations manual, was really just a collection of all the best resources that we have to run our dental practices. And so, when people need resources, they can join Dental Success Network, of course, but if they wanted to see the actual paper copies and ideas that we use and some of the best black belt coaches in our network, what they use, that book is full of them. And so you'll see things, and when COVID hit, in that book, we have a 30-page COVID manual that keeps you, legally in the right spot.
You didn't realize that was going to be a thing, right? When you're writing your manual, we're going to give a whole section on a worldwide pandemic. The one thing I also want to share, Addison, that I love about these books, I have the checklist manifesto all the time. So when I practiced with my dad as an early dentist, he had that red medicine book that I would get from above his operatory when we had to prescribe something. And I think we had Aaron talking about direct mail. There's such value to just holding something and reading it. You don't have to go on an app. That's all great, but it's just great because it's frictionless to consume the information. So I commend you guys for making something that isn't necessarily giant, but something that's digestible for people to read.
Yeah. Well, and with the startup, and with the operations manual, both books, it'll probably be out by the end of the month, the acquisitions manual, there's so many errors you can make. And in a startup, you could make a couple $100,000 worth of errors, whether you buy the wrong CBCT or you build it the wrong way, or if you build it the wrong way and then you have to live with it for 20 years in poor operational fashion. So, these books will save you just hundreds of thousands of dollars in either gray hairs or a heart attack or equipment. So.
What's something just, people watching this, Mark or Addison, I've only owned 3 or 4 practices, so I'm a lightweight compared to you guys, but what's an error that this book would have helped you if you're reading it, Mark or Addison, just off the top of your head? It could be broad picture or specific in your 26 practice journey.
Oh, we don't have enough time, dude. But I'll tell you, I've made just about every mistake you can make. I've accepted ridiculously high IT quotes and followed through with those, lost probably $20,000 in one deal. I've incorrectly set up my dental practice. The layout was just all wrong because I didn't know any better. I've made huge mistakes as far as construction and architecture, not really realizing that they have to know one another and they have to actually get along.
Right. Yes.
That was a very, very expensive mistake that ended up causing an
Those are
extra
great
10
ones,
months to a project, but lots and lots
and
lots
that's
of
where you
things.
learn from us medium-age dentists doing this. Addison, I also want to share this value. I think when I have two small children that live in my home, they're my permanent roommates with Mary. And when we had the first baby, we didn't bring her home. We were like, now maybe we should get a crib, right? We got it before this happened. When should people start reading these manuals, and tell us how people can get them? Like, tell us about where you would put this in your journey and then how people could get a copy.
So the blue, the dental operations manual, you should get that anytime. Once you're out being a dentist, you should have that and start to look through that. All the checklists, the systems, basically the blueprint for how you should be practicing as a dentist. The green book, the startup, you should look at that when you're looking for locations, when you're starting to look like at the beginning of your vision of like, oh, I think I want to do a startup. You should buy that book. Because it really does start at the beginning, and it is much more of a workbook of, but it teaches you exactly how to do it. Like Mark said, we have made every mistake. I think the worst mistake I made, I bought a building one time for about, I think it was like $950,000. Well, right after we closed, I didn't have a thorough enough inspection, and there was rampant mold throughout all of the entire building, and so we had to remove every window in the building. Rip out a bunch of the drywall, rip out the floors. It was probably about a $400,000 job, and on top of like about $1 million building. And so,
That's
yeah, if
such
I
a
would
good
have,
story, and we're going to wrap on that. But Mark and Anas, and it's Mark always. I love your concept of growth happens outside your comfort zone, but also you probably don't just want to go for a run with David Goggins if it's your first day running. So there's just so many things that happen where you're like, are we sure we should be letting people just do this, right? Versus being too overprotective, and that's where I see these manuals helping in this medium or middle ground, because just plowing ahead with confidence that's unrealistic causes problems. Being too concerned. So I really, really like that. So as we wrap up, Mark, I'm thrilled that we finally get to see each other in person in a few weeks. Tell everyone what's happening in a few weeks. And if there's any way for them to kind of still join or watch in or just learn about it, let us know.
Yeah, Addison will be joining us up on stage. Thank you so much for coming out to support us as usual, Paul. So May 28th and 29th, which is Memorial Day weekend, is our 9th annual Dental Success Summit. Just go to truedentalsuccess.com if you're interested in learning more and to purchase tickets. But Peyton Manning, NFL legend, will be gracing the stage, and he will be our keynote speaker, along with our 13 black belt coaches, including Addison. Awesome. We're going to be talking about how to systemize a dental practice, how to become a better leader, how to become more efficient and profitable. So that's what it's all about. And we expect about 500. I
know you're a busy guy, Mark, like me. You miss things. So I'm a girl dad. I know you're a boy dad. So you agreed to just let me leave my two daughters at your house for the whole time. So they're going to stay there for the first 3 days. I was just in fine print.
Oh, my wife would be in heaven. She needs some girl energy at the house.
Awesome. They're going to be there with me at the hotel. So it's great. And Mary. So awesome. I'll bring around. Addison, one more time. How can people find these manuals and you?
Yeah. So dentalsuccessnetwork.com. They can find them there or on Amazon. So.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, so much for being right. You guys are great collaborators. Looking forward to see you guys in person in a few weeks.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, guys. Take care. Paul.
Can't learn from two guys better than that about how to navigate your dentisting life. So I am ready to bring up our next guest in a minute, wherever you guys are. But as you can see, so much value here on Talking Nachos. If you want to be a guest or learn more about it, just text Nachos to 215-543-6454. So I have here my friend, key resource and sponsor, someone who works with me personally, Jamie from Day One. Jamie, you've been on the show numerous times, but you always add awesome value. Give us a broad picture look about what you do to flip this for dentists from crying to happy. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'd be happy to do that. So my name is Jamie. I'm from Day One. I'm the owner and chief strategist, and my company's mission is to make dentists' lives better and more profitable. We do that through creating a marketing system for your practice that's individualized and brings in new patients. And whatever types of new patients you're looking to bring in is how we build the system.
Now, I know, Jamie, when dentists come to you, and we can be authentic here, even if we give some kind of noise to dentists, what is their marketing knowledge when they come to you, and where do they kind of, like, we had a great episode of the top mistakes dentists make. Where are some mindset mistakes they make with marketing, whether it's with investment, whether it's with how it works? Give our audience a little value on that.
Sure. A lot of times, I would say the number one, not a lot of times, the number one problem that we're addressing is actually not so much we'll refer to it as legacy issues. There's been this changeover in personnel. There's been a new dentist. There's a new name. There's something new that's happened, and the new dentist coming on board. In fact, Paul, we were just talking about this recently. This new dentist that we're working with is just struggling because it's a piecemeal setup. That's perhaps the number one thing. Is you come in, it's a piecemeal setup. Nobody's talking to each other. You've got, each part of the marketing program, your website, your SEO, your social, all of it is just siloed. And there's no coordination, and it's left up to the dentist to play referee because each one of those companies is trying to get more of the dentist business. And so I would say the number one issue we work with is trying to bring this system in place, either working with their legacy issues or replacing them. And
what's key is, our cleanup hitter on this show is going to be talking about money, but marketing is what brings in money. Where are the opportunities that you see? So let's say you were a dentist. You went to Dentist Fantasy Camp. We magically made you a dentist, Jamie. Where are the opportunities in 2021? We talk a lot about the challenges, which are there, but where are the opportunities for dentists either to be happier, produce more patient-centered dentistry? Where are you seeing this for your clients?
Well, the area that we're seeing it most often right now is, and we've talked about this before, I guess maybe it's sort of like a broken record, is dentists, and Mark just mentioned it recently, have to step outside their comfort zone and begin to be more personable. It's you're at the chair side and you're attempting to make some conversation be personable, but that needs to translate online, whether it's video, whether it's photos, whether it's testimonials, sharing some events of your own personal life. I'll give you a couple examples of some things that we're seeing. So our good friend Matt, I'll give him a shout out. He got a new puppy a few months ago, and he's doing these weekend videos with this puppy that he has. We're not even doing it for him. I mean, we're doing so many other things for him, but he's doing this, and the engagement levels are off the roof.
Yeah.
So he's sharing his personal life with what's going on. Granted, the puppy's cute, but all that to say that the greatest opportunities are to just share who you are and your passion with people and life and your family. We're seeing that those dentists that are willing to do that are getting tons of results. In fact, one of the best areas that we're seeing that right now is, I'll give you an example of a dentist that we're working with. Started doing some videos with their patients, bringing them up. We're not even promoting them. We're not even paid ads. It's just we're putting them up on their Facebook page and sharing it on Instagram. And what we have seen from that, because we're tracking what's going on, we have seen in the past month, this one dentist, just from this one post, it was an implant video. I know you're familiar with those, has brought in 3 implant patients from their current setup just because they saw this video, they commented on it, and came back. I mean, there's a lot of places that I'll call it low-hanging fruit, but there's a lot of places that you can see where there's going to be value. Just
things I want to share, because so Matt's puppy and what I share. So yesterday, I think you saw this. I take a lot of videos. I like sharing stories. And I said to Dennis, how often do you email your patients? And they said, I never do it because it would annoy me. Well, guess what? You're not your patient. And I don't even want to treat Dennis. I treat one dentist, maybe Jeff Goodman. I don't even know if I want to treat him. He treats me though. So I don't want you as a patient, Dennis, but I want regular people, non-weird people as patients. So one of the concepts I think dentists mistake is they think of themselves as the consumer, but they know too much. So I put out an email to 1,300 people, and it was a fun video of Mary's friends who came for bleaching. And I said, hey, would you email your patients? While everyone was arguing about it, over 300 people had opened it and 30 people had watched this video. That was just a fun video. And I've had patients come in from the emails I sent and said, I really like that implant video. So I think getting out of your comfort zone is such a good theme with marketing. You probably need very little dental work, dentist. You probably floss on the way to flossing, but that is not how patients are. So I think that's such a good point, is to share more of your personal life. When people say share your personal life, Jamie, it doesn't mean you have to share really things that aren't going well, just fun stuff, right? You got a new puppy, you go out with your family. I mean, people want to think that their dentists are people. We are people, and it just bonds you. And what happens is, and I think what you said was great, it creates a conversation piece that's not around teeth when people come in.
It is. And I mean, where we're seeing this, the best examples of doing this would be if it's your anniversary, if there's a milestone moment in your family that you want to share. I mean, if you're already putting it up on Facebook, make sure you're sharing it on your practice page, and give permission to some of the people, people that you definitely trust that work for you. Give permission for them to be able to share some things. Maybe you've won a contest. Maybe your child has gotten straight A's. Reward them. Those types of things have tremendous value, and it makes you authentic. And that's where you're going to see a lot of
engagement. On Dental Nachos, I try very hard. I'll spend 20 minutes coming up with a post about how to, not mess up buying a practice. 3 people like it. The other day I said, is pineapple an insult to pizza? 90 people liked it and 150 people commented. And that's fun because then people are saying it is an insult or it's not. So be more authentic. Jamie, if people want to reach out to you and learn more about working with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. The best way to reach out to me is going to dentalmarketingdoneright.com/nachos. Make sure that you go to the /nachos. Anybody that's coming from the Nachos group, we have some special bonuses for you. First thing is that anybody that comes in that decides to hire us, you will get $500 off your first month's bill, whatever that is going to be. But everybody, whether they're coming from Nachos or not, just want to let everybody know that we give you a 30-day money-back guarantee. If for any reason you're not happy within that first 30 days, no questions asked. We're not interested in being in a bad marriage. We want you to be happy with us. We want you to be satisfied. We want you to be thrilled, actually, to be able to work with us. And so make sure you go to dentalmarketingdoneright.com/nachos.
Awesome, Jamie. You're just a fantastic friend, key resource, and sponsor. We're lucky to know you. Thanks so much for sharing with us.
Thanks, Paul.
Awesome. Well, we've learned so much in our cleanup hitter on Talking Nachos. Before we do a wrap up, saved him for the cleanup hitter because he talks about your favorite topic, money, how to get more money. When you get money, where do you invest it? Bitcoin, Dogecoin. Do you invest it on the moon? Is that a new one? I think the moon.
Dodge.
But I have Ryan Isaac here from Dentist Advisors. We've seen each other face to face when that was still legal. It's becoming legal again. So Ryan, just take a minute and share what you guys and your awesome team do regarding money to make dentists go from this to this, and give us an idea of how Dentist Advisors helps you on this journey.
Well, first I want to say that about 3 weeks ago, I woke up in the morning having an actual Dogecoin dream. Like I was dreaming about it, and my dream was like, wake up and buy it, and it was 2 cents, and I almost did just to be stupid, and I didn't, and now I wish I did. So follow your dreams. If you dream about crypto, you should follow your dreams. I
dream about eating nachos. I go down in the middle of the night. I don't know if that's good for my physique.
I don't think you should do everything you dream about. Yeah, Dentist Advisors, we're a non-commission fiduciary financial advisor just for dentists. We've been around for about 15 years. And our number one goal is to help dentists get really, really organized around their entire financial life. Like the nitpicky, detailed stuff that, your average like 401k person or insurance salesman isn't going to do for you, right? Like you need to track things around your personal spending, and you need to track how much your net worth grows every quarter. And does it grow because you save money, or your investments grew, or your debts went down? I mean, you need to track your income, and then you got to track like how all these things relate to each other, So when you make big decisions, I mean, you've had some guests talk about some big decisions they have to make, right? Like you can't make them in a vacuum, in a silo, So if you buy $1 million building, like Addison is saying, I mean, that's so many moving pieces, There's of course the real estate and the loan and the practice, but you have a lot about your own net worth and your liquidity and, your savings rate and your burn rate and all this kind of things.
I'm glad you said that. So we help sell practices, at Dental Nachos, United Dental Brokers of America, and people need 10% of the purchase price in liquid assets, non-retirement assets. So I want to buy this practice. It's $700,000. Like, do you have 70 grand? They're like, I don't have 7 grand. I said, okay, talk with Dentist Advisor. Tell me a little bit, if we could just talk about this type of dentist, someone who's preparing for practice ownership. They reach out to you. They've been an associate for a few years. What are some of the challenges that you see with this type of dentist? And then also, where are the opportunities when you get them on the right track?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, you're talking about liquidity, which is, especially for a newer, younger dentist, it's so important. And it's hard because most young dentists, especially nowadays, have so much in student loans, and the pressure to do a million things at the same time is just so high, Like I want to pay off 600 grand of student loan debt, but I also want to buy a practice, but I also want to buy a house because I've been living in student housing. I want to just point out, and I learned this from Rob Montgomery early on, and I didn't really know it beforehand.
Paying off your students' debts aggressively and not saving liquid assets puts you behind the 8 ball with buying a practice.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's tough. Yeah, it's tough, and it's hard just because there's so many competing pressures, especially in a young dentist life. But I don't think it ever goes away. So I mean, my best advice, and I like what Mark and Addison are talking about. Like the career should get all of your energy and focus and attention, and especially when you're younger in your career, you have so many fewer resources to spread around. I mean, the house might have to wait, and your student loans should definitely wait. And whatever your career is, if you're going to move somewhere and be an associate for a few years to just develop your skill set, or you're going to buy in a practice or start one up, like hire people, get people like Mark's group involved to coach you how to be a good dentist, not only just a good clinician, but you got to know how to run the thing and be a leader and manage a team and structure and resources.
It's all interrelated on my picture here because
you got the diagram. Yeah, Da Vinci. That's Da Vinci's old. Yeah.
Every business decision is a clinical decision. Every clinical decision is you want to add a 401k that affects you clinically. You want to buy a CVC that affects your business. But tell us, you guys work with people at time zero, or they've come to you and they say, hey, one of the things I want to try to dispel is dentists sometimes feel overly negative about their debt and things like that, but they go from sometimes earning zero to a few $100,000 a year quickly, but then they need a place to save this money. If people were to work with you guys create a treatment plan for them. Tell us a little bit about the part of engaging with you guys and how that works.
Yeah, so financial planning is kind of a vague term. It gets thrown around a lot in our industry. It doesn't have like an actual definition, but we tried to define that. And the way we would define a good financial plan is the foundation. It's probably 4 steps. Number 1 is complete organization, and it's like not just a one-time event, but that's an ongoing thing that should be happening in your life. And people can go to our website dentistadvisors.com and they can click on this little tab called the Elements tab.
Cool.
And those are 12 categories that we've come up with that we feel like are important for a dentist to be organized around. So number 1 is organization. Number 2 is like tracking data. And by the way, these principles work in like, marathon running or weight loss or running a business. I mean, these are just basic principles that also work in personal finance. So organization. Number 2 is you got to track your data. You need to know how things are growing and how they're trending and how they're changing. Are you spending the money that you earn as your income goes up? How much of your income gets saved versus debt payments versus taxes? How does your net worth grow over time? So you have to track the progress. Number 3 is you have to make decisions around this stuff constantly. I've been a financial advisor for almost 14 years, and I found that in an average dentist year, there's probably a dozen or so, mostly little decisions that have to be made. Do we fund the kids' Roth this year? Do I put my spouse on payroll? Right? Little things. But every once in a while, there's like 1 to 2 big ones a year, or like one huge one every few years. So those decisions need to be made with like right data and everything. And then number 4 is just...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Tell me number 4.
Well, I was just going to say number 4 is accountability. So once you've been organized, you've tracked your data, you've made decisions. We're humans. We're just so bad at sticking to things. That's why we need like people around us to help us accomplish goals. So that's why we exist.
Points. And what I want to share is the whole purpose of this entire Talking Nachos segment is it drives us Nacho Nuts as dentists when people want to do their ortho at home or do something at home because say you're not a dentist. Work with people who do this every day. You can literally look at someone about to buy a practice saying, my other client was in your shoes a year ago, and he or she thought they wanted to spend $30,000 on their loans, but what they really needed it for was a down payment on their building, because that comes in a whole separate thing where, the liquidity to buy a practice, you just need to show that, right? They're not going to take it from you. But if you want to buy real estate, you may have to actually put a down payment down. Yeah. And these are things, this is the once decision to get started so important. So Ryan, we're going to wrap up here in a minute, so stay on with us, but tell us, how can people reach out to you if they're looking to learn more about Dentist Advisors or to find that Elements tab?
Yeah, the website, dentistadvisors.com. We have a podcast called The Dentist Money Show. It's going on about 5 years now. So there's tons of stuff there, webinars. We try to educate and teach as much as we can.
My episodes were your favorite episodes. I appreciate that.
I think they were. Yeah, they probably the highest ever. Yeah.
So awesome, guys. Well, anyone's here can jump back on. I'd like to do a fun 10-minute wrap up here with our crew. So the purpose of Talking Nachos is to deliver you guys actionable information, awareness of what's happening out there in the world. But I have Jamie and Aaron home with me here still, which is awesome. And Ryan. So what I'd like to ask you guys is, we're all people. You listen to other people. What did you learn from someone else on the show, or just a concept that you might be able to apply to your own life or to a client's life? Jamie, I'll start with you. Anything you heard from anybody out there that you would say, hey, that really made sense, or I didn't know that was a thing, or I want to tell my client about it?
What I really liked from hearing around here is what Mark and Addison were talking about with not just from having written a book, which is a monumental accomplishment, and now several books, but the idea of systematizing the process.
Yeah.
That's so much of what we do, and so I really related to that. And putting something in practice, a guide that you can follow, as opposed to having a bunch of just pieces sitting out there. I really liked how they have put that effort into it to help other dentists.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jamie. Aaron, how about you?
Yeah, I think for me, it's there was something from everybody, but I think kind of the proven methods. Like, this has been done before. I mean, I've worked with from all different types of grand openings to associate turnovers, DSO, everything. So when you're talking about these guys, I mean, that's what I'm impressed by, experience and being able to minimize that risk. Maximize results, minimize risk. But also that last thing that you said stuck with me was, but be authentic. Put your twist on it. What makes it you? And it's my advice for anyone's marketing design is play to your strengths, right? But use proven methods, control the variables.
It's such a key point. It's always the right fit for the right person at the right time. And as much as I love being part of Dental Nachos and creating group, it's really important that when you make huge decisions with money and marketing and where you're going to practice for your life, that you don't make it off some Facebook comment or Instagram post of someone who might, Gary Vee talks about this all the time. You need context to the post. So if he says, work as hard as you can and sleep on somebody's couch, I always want to know, who are the people letting you sleep on the couch, by the way? I'd like to know who they are. But that he might think that fits great for a 27-year-old, but probably not good advice for a parent of 2 children. So context is so important. Really love that. Ryan, how about you?
Is it Aaron?
Yes.
Is it Aaron? I learned that you can play professional football and not be rich and famous.
It might be a good way to rich and famous.
Yeah, 9 years, and you didn't get rich and famous. I just got a lot of surgeries. If you count surgeries, I guess I'm rich and famous.
Man, well, no, that's awesome. No, I love this industry. I've been in it for a while, and I'm always reminded at how important it is. It's like a dentist has such incredible earning capacities in their career. Their ability to earn probably the highest income for their for any occupation range in the country is probably maximum, and their ability to grow a net worth is also just, it's so high, and there's nothing that they should spend time on other than running the practice and then leaving and living their life. There's nothing. They shouldn't do their own bookkeeping, their marketing, their taxes, their financial planning. They shouldn't do it. They should just hire smart people. And I know in the early years it's hard to do that because at some point you're scrimping and saving and answering your own phones and doing your own hygiene. But over a career, I think that's what makes a successful dentist is they just dial in the focus.
Point, Ryan, I love it. And this is what I'll share. And this will resonate with dentists. When we do an implant case or a big case or do something, the patient says this to us all the time. I should have done this sooner. And dentists will share with you at CE courses, I should have hired a marketer sooner. I should have hired a financial planner sooner. I was just scared. I should have done this sooner. And I say, test, don't guess. Hire someone and see if you want to unhire them. That's happened to me precisely 0 times, from bookkeeping to marketing to financial planning, because they remove annoyance from your life and they're invested. They're really into what you do. And you guys aren't into creating the most perfect emergence profile in the world. You're into helping dentists feel happier, be happier. So thrilled to have you guys as part of our network. We'll have a fun another Talking Nachos. You guys are feel free to drop back. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
So that wraps up another awesome episode of Talking Nachos. If you would like to be a guest on Talking Nachos, you can text Nachos to 215-543-6454. Connect us with this. That way you can email client services at dentalnachos.com. We love featuring people sharing our story to create a better dentisting world together, because the more we share, the more we care, the better world we're going to build together. Thanks so much, guys.